What if I told you that in just 30 days, you could start to rebuild your entire life, no matter how lost, broken, or stuck you feel right now? It sounds impossible, right? But what if the answer isn't in some modern self-help hack, but in the ancient wisdom of a man who mastered not just the sword, but the art of living itself? Miyamoto Musashi, a name that echoes through centuries. The undefeated samurai, the wandering ronin, the philosopher warrior who wrote the Book of Five Rings. But Musashi wasn't born a legend. He was born into chaos, orphaned as a child, forced to fight for survival in a world that wanted to break him. He lost, he failed, he wandered. He rebuilt himself again and again until he became unbreakable. And what if I told you that Musashi left behind a set of principles so powerful that, if you follow them for just 30 days, could help you rebuild your own life from the ground up? Maybe you're watching this because you feel stuck. Maybe you've tried to change before, but always end up back where you started. Maybe you're tired of the same old advice. Just think positive. Just work harder. Just be grateful. But deep down, you know that real change is more than a motivational quote. It's a battle. It's a journey. It's a transformation. So before we dive in, I want you to do something. Pause for a moment. Think about the one thing in your life you most want to change. Is it your health? Your habits? Your mindset? Your relationships? Hold that in your mind. Because over the next few minutes, you're going to discover Musashi's secret, a method that has survived centuries. Not because it's easy, but because it works. If you're ready to rebuild, not just patch up, but truly rebuild your life, then this is your moment. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below. What's the one thing you want to rebuild in the next 30 days? Your declaration might be the first brick in your new foundation. Let's begin. Musashi's secret. The path of relentless simplicity. Musashi's life was a storm of chaos, but his method was simple. He believed that rebuilding yourself doesn't start with grand gestures, it starts with small, relentless actions repeated every single day. Step 1. Accept everything just as it is. Musashi's first rule is brutal in its simplicity. Accept everything just as it is. It's not as you wish it to be, not as you think it should be, but as it is right now. Most people spend their lives fighting reality. They deny their pain, hide from their failures, blame others, or wait for the perfect moment to start over. But Musashi knew that you can rebuild a house if you're re-pretending the old one, isn't in ruins. You have to see the cracks, the broken beams, the ashes. You have to face your life as it is, with honesty and courage. For the next 30 days, start every morning by looking at your life without judgment. Write down what's working, what's broken, what hurts, what you're grateful for, and what you wish was different. Don't try to fix it yet, just accept it, because acceptance isn't surrendered. It's the foundation of all change. Step 2. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Musashi lived in a world of constant temptation: food, drink, comfort, distraction. But he saw what most people miss. Chasing pleasure for its own sake leads to weakness, not strength. Think about your own life. Often do you reach for your phone, a snack, a drink, or a distraction not because you need it, but because you're avoiding discomfort? Musashi's rule is a challenge. For 30 days, notice every time you reach for pleasure out of habit. Pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me rebuild, or is it just numbing the pain? This isn't about becoming a monk or denying yourself joy. It's about choosing your pleasures, not being controlled by them. It's about building discipline, one small choice at a time. Step 3. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Ego is the enemy of growth. Musashi saw that pride, self-importance, and the need to be right are the biggest obstacles to transformation. For 30 days, practice humility. When you make a mistake, admit it. When you don't know something, ask. When you feel the urge to defend your ego, let it go. But don't stop there. Musashi's rule is also about curiosity. Look at the world with fresh eyes. Ask questions. Listen more than you speak. Read something new. Talk to someone different. The more deeply you understand the world, the more lightly you can carry yourself through it. Contrast framing: the old way versus Musashi's way. Most people try to rebuild their lives by adding more goals, more habits, more pressure. Musashi's way is about subtraction, letting go of illusions, distractions, and ego. It's about clearing the rubble before you lay a new foundation. Step 4. Be detached from desire your whole life long. Desire is a double-edged sword. It can drive you forward, but it can also chain you to suffering. Musashi learned to act without being attached to the outcome. For the next 30 days, set your goals, but detach from the results. Focus on the process, not the prize. If you want to get fit, show up every day, but don't obsess over the scale. If you want to learn a skill, practice daily, but don't judge yourself by how fast you progress. This is the hardest rule for most people. We're taught to chase, to want, to crave. But Musashi's wisdom is this: freedom comes when you do your best and let go of the rest. Step 5. Never stop learning. Musashi was undefeated, but he never stopped being a student. Studied not just swordsmanship, but painting, calligraphy, strategy, and philosophy. He believed that mastery is a journey, not a destination. For 30 days, commit to learning something new every day. It could be a skill, a fact, a lesson from failure, or a new perspective from someone you disagree with. Write down what you learn. Share it with someone. Let learning become your daily ritual. Transition from rules to reality. These 5 rules aren't magic. They won't fix your life overnight. But if you truly live them for 30 days, you'll start to see the cracks in your old foundation fill with something stronger. You'll feel the shift, not just in your habits, but in your identity. But what happens when you stumble? What happens when you miss a day, fall back into old patterns, or feel like giving up? That's where the real rebuilding begins. Let me tell you a story. A story not about Musashi, but about someone like you. Let's call him Daniel. Daniel was 35, stuck in a job he hated, drifting through life, numbing himself with distractions. He found Musashi's rules by accident, desperate for something real. He decided to try them for 30 days. Day 1. Daniel wrote down everything he hated about his life. It hurt. But for the first time, he stopped lying to himself. Day 5. He noticed how often he reached for his phone when he felt anxious. He started leaving it in another room, sitting with his discomfort instead. Day 10. He caught himself bragging in a conversation, trying to impress someone. Stopped, laughed at himself, and asked the other person about their story. Day 15. He set a goal to run every morning, but missed 2 days in a row. Instead of quitting, he remembered Musashi's rule: detach from the outcome. He showed up the next day, no guilt, no drama. Day 20. He started reading about Japanese art, something he'd never cared about before. He found himself inspired, curious, alive. Day 25. He had a terrible day at work. Old habits called to him: junk food, TV, scrolling. He slipped, but then remembered, rebuilding isn't about never falling. It's about getting up again and again. Day 30. Daniel looked in the mirror. He wasn't a new person. He was a rebuilding person. He felt stronger, lighter, more honest. He realized that the real change wasn't in his job, his body, or his bank account. It was in his mind. Setback and recovery. You will stumble. You will have days when you want to quit. Musashi stumbled too. He lost duels, made mistakes, wandered for years. But he kept rebuilding. When you fall, remember, the only difference between those who rebuild and those who stay broken is this: the rebuilders get up one more time every time. Identity shift. After 30 days, you won't just have new habits. You'll have a new relationship with yourself. You'll know that you can face reality, resist empty pleasure, let go of ego, detach from outcomes, and keep learning. You'll know that you can rebuild, no matter how many times you've been broken. Final reflection and call to action. So are you ready? Are you ready to rebuild your life? Not in a year, not someday, but starting now? Musashi's secret is waiting for you, not as a challenge, but as an invitation. For the next 30 days, live these rules. Write them down. Read them every morning. Share your journey in the comments. Declare your commitment publicly, because the first step to rebuilding is believing that you can. If this video gave you a new perspective, subscribe and join our community of rebuilders, people who refuse to stay broken, who choose to rise again and again. Comment below. What's the first rule you'll start with? What will you rebuild in the next 30 days? Your story might be the spark that helps someone else begin. Thank you for watching. Remember, you are not your past. You are the architect of your future, and every day is a chance to rebuild.